So an interesting aspect of how the map is the relationships on the map are being done. Um, is that was being done by the browser. There you go, Tat. Okay, now Tat waits to see if she really wants in. Oh, you do? Great. Crazy Tat. But, anyway, it's the browser doing that searching, right? I don't have my host doing it. Now, my old subsystem, everything was done through the host. If you come and try to look at all the latest videos, basically what you do is you're telling the host to go ahead and find them and send that information back to you. Which means if 20 people are doing that, they're all going to the host. And then the same host is hitting the YouTube interfaces as a bottleneck. And when I did this, I realized, wait, let's try just doing it straight to the browser. The JavaScript is making that request. None of that's going to my server, none of those relationships. Now they could be submitted, and that's what I plan to do. But here's the interesting thing. So let's say you're writing a web spider of some sort. So like we're focusing on YouTube. So let's say it's crawling YouTube looking for things. It can only do so much, but if it's people's browsers that are actually doing the crawling, then the browser gets the information, and it could be submitted or not. Well, what this means is that if the spider was driven by something like this map, you know, when you go to look at your map, it starts scanning all the sites in it, trying to keep up to date with them. You know, if you do it, I can actually update the whole map pretty quickly, but YouTube will throttle you after about, you know, you go through about 15 channels, looking up all the, 250 comments on all the YouTube tries to throttle you. So imagine if you're trying to do it for thousands. Now, I'm not using my developer key. You could get a free developer key for hitting that thing. I was just seeing what you could do in the open so far. So they might not throttle you as much with the key, but still, it's a bottleneck in design. So now I like this idea that people make their own subscription page. It doesn't have to be a map. It could be a list of people, whatever. When they go there, their browser does the searching of that information. The fact that they were interested in it is how it gets into the database, right? So if you had, let's say you had 100 different maps, and some, many of them are different views on the atheist community and different parts of the atheist community, and comical and not comical, and tracking philosophical debates and groups and clubs that you have or are interested in, right? Well, when people went to that map to check up on the people, they'd actually be generating the information that goes in the database that the C++ backends do the big number crunching, right? And so that C++ thing doesn't have to be a web crawler. It can just do its job of crunching the data. And which data it gets would be driven by what the people that visited its site were interested in. So that's an interesting thing, because I don't see people as using maps as a main way of interacting. I probably will, but I love graphs and maps. But I do see people using alternate interfaces for keeping track of things. You know, if you did have a debate site, you go to the page to find out what's going on with the debate. Well, your browser could be searching and helping the debate site database get up to date with what's going on, on YouTube and the various parts of the debate. Another nice thing about this is that it means we can integrate with other video sites without server changes. Because obviously, if you have a video site, then it's sending information to your browser. So your browser can take data, put it in the form that we want, and submit it to that debate site or map site or whatever kind of interface it's supporting. And instead of me have to decide, oh, I'll see what the popular channels are on YouTube by a big search and then I'll follow those ones. No, I don't care about the popular ones. This puts an element of human selection in there, right? People that want to keep up with things in a big picture way. People that don't just want to get their shits and giggle and leave a troll comment. People that are curious in some sort of big picture. What's going on in this community? Who's talking to whom? What are hot topics? You know, it could be a shallow thing. You could just be trying to, well, I'm into trends. I want to know what's trending. Okay, it doesn't make you an insightful person, but it means you want to have a bigger picture, right? And this is a good way to drive that. In other words, you get someone like, so this wants a bigger picture. They don't want the bigger picture of YouTube. Just, well, what's the biggest thing? No, they're more like, hey, I'm into indie music. What's going on in the indie music scene? So they set up some sort of interface, various, I could think of infinite, for viewing that. And then the fact that they go check it actually is what gets the main database updated. You know, so if there's headlines popping up of what's going on in people's side windows, that's where that's coming from. Somebody else is actually doing that and generating an event, and that is interpreted as, well, there's some activity here. So people that try to find the big picture would be help to digest that big picture and put it in a database. And the purpose is really, I think of this as an issue of structured conversation, okay? And there's really two different aspects. One, the best way, maybe empirical and scientific way, to structure natural phenomena that's already occurring, it's not to try to change it. That didn't work. Is not to try to change it, right? And structure it in that way, like I will put it into a particular shape. No. It's to just track it, you know, find out what's going on. So, for example, if you're adding structure to your understanding, wait, hold on. So, for example, if you're adding structure, you study birds and you're adding structure to your understanding of birds, it's not like you put the birds in cages and go, now structure. No, in that case, it would be visualizing whatever it is that the birds already do. In other words, you assume there's a structure there and you're trying to discover it, and you discover it by graphing and charting and these kinds of visualization approaches. Okay, a lot of science is the visualization side. Okay, I'd also like to provide some tools to change the structure, not in general, but for particular purposes. Basically, those of us that would like to improve the efficiency and value of public conversation, there's certain things that I think we need to do, and one is to have a trace, so you can visualize our conversations after the fact, however chaotic or disorganized. And then also, with that in visualization, we should see the places where, hey, a tool will help. Here's what was missing in the structure. This is what makes the structure. Like, for example, a lot of us feel like you're going in circles. There's a repetition to it. And there definitely is. But there's also an evolution to it. The things change. If we go back to the things we think we just re-argued something with somebody we argued 4 years ago with them or someone else, if we really looked at the details, there'd be an evolution. And the kind of words we use, the examples we've learned since then, and so on. And by having these visualization tools, we can become aware of what those are. And then we can make sure that the software has the features that help bring that kind of information to life. Unlike some people, I don't think if you have a debate system that you're going to find out who's right any more than you do now. What you're going to find out is why people say they're right, why people say they're wrong, who fact checks who, and who fact checks the fact checkers, and the fact checkers who checks them. And the answer is you create tools for everybody to check everybody. Like unlimited checks and balances. And then which judgment You know, once you have infinite judgers, which judgment do I trust if I'm going in blind, and I want to know, well, is this person a racist or not? You know, and maybe there's people that are going, well, this is racist, these aren't facts, and there's somebody going, no, it's not racist, and those are facts. Well, yeah, it comes down to my trust network. I just have to learn which of these groups I'm akin to, or ignore them and make my own judgments. And I think with all this information, you start to find that a lot of people find they can get on the same page when they have more information. People that think they'll never be on the same page with another person, often, if both those people get enough extra information, they'll get to the point of understanding their disagreement. They may even get over the disagreement, but if they don't get over the disagreement, at least they'll come to a point of understanding the balance of the views. They should be able to get down to, well, which personal preference, that's your personal call or my personal call, which one of those, you know, which of those do we differ on, right? And if you see why a person is differing with you as a basis of something that's their right to have their own opinion on, there's a lot of potential there to go ahead and not live in a dysfunctional society, but to be able to interact with people that you don't have to agree with. So anyway, yeah, I like the idea that the spider, especially since some people brought up, like, you're tracking things. It's like, oh yeah, well, it's all public stuff, but it brings information to light that officially was public, but might not have been. People weren't thinking about how public it was, or it wasn't public until it really got brought to light. Well, anyway, so that'd be great. If we're going to have a network of keeping track of our conversations, we should drive it. The ones we want to track should get tracked, right? We should be the spider that crawls the web. In general, I have to say, you know, the information's public, right? I am entertaining people's requests to be on or off the map I'm making, but it's a general map making tool, and you can't tell people who to bookmark right now. If I think of a different way to bookmark, you can't say, oh, I only gave my permission to be bookmarked a certain way. No, you never did any such thing, so you might want to work that out. All right, cheers.